All right, since I've done this once now, I thought I would make a hopefully shorter, more detailed, if that makes any sense, video. So here we are at the very beginning, right? We're at the HtmlQ analysis. Here is the web page here on GitHub. I'm going to just make this a little bigger, and we'll make this go down a little bit. Here's just the supported browsers. I'm using Chrome. There's all kinds of great things. We're going to start off with the easy HtmlQ. Here is the download, and if we come over here, it tells you where to go and get these files. Now, it just so happens that I have already downloaded this and added this. This link isn't live, so we'll just kind of jump to that in a second. So here's my downloaded one, and like I mentioned, I actually typed this in, and now I'm going to just copy. And we're going to go back to my window here. And I recommend downloading this file, by the way. And now we can come over here. And it's just going to open up a zip file, and we're going to save it, in this case, right on my very messy desktop. And then inside here, we'll find this master. We just need this master. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm actually going to delete this zip. And I'm just going to paste this. Oops. And, you know, sometimes there's just weird things going on. So we'll just, no, maybe not. We're going to pause for a second. I have lots of things in here. All right, we'll try this again. We'll just drag this to the desktop. There it is. Now we don't need this. That'd be a better way to do that. And then in here are our files. And the only things that we're going to have to change are these settings files. And if you go into here, from the very beginning, it walks you through some of these steps, but I'm going to actually show you doing some of these modifications. So there's the settings, right? But we'll start off with actually changing the statements file. So I'm going to open some things and then pop back in. So here I've opened up the settings. I've clicked on the statements. It's important to use something like Notepad, just a simple text editor. Not Word. Word is not ever good for that kind of thing. Oh, here, I will scooch this down so it's in here. So this just gives you some examples, and here, right, is the actual beginning of our statements. And so we can start off just by simply going into the Word file, which is where these statements happen to be. And we're going to stick them in here, right? Being very careful not to eliminate any. And we can just do, right, Control V. So now I have that one. And it doesn't matter that it runs over. Some of these are going to be, right, longer than what's actually in here. But that's, again, not a big deal. And again, Control V. And we're just going to keep doing that for a little bit, and then I'm going to stop back in. All right, so our example, our beginning spot for our statements only had room for 14 statements. Right now, obviously, I have more than 14 statements in this particular study. Right, I have 30. So what to do? So I'm going to come in here, right? And I'm all the way over. And I'm just going to highlight this. I'm going to do Control C or copy. And then I'm going to have the next line here. And it doesn't matter if they don't line up, right? It's just a coding kind of thing. And I can go a little faster. And right? But I don't want this next line. Right? That's where it has to end. Right? So I could do, and so I can. This is just an easy shortcut for getting me to 30. And then I'm going to have to make some more changes, but it's, just going to give me a little jump start. So here's number 14. We'll go over here and we'll highlight number 14, right? And just do Control C, which is just copy, and then come over here and paste it. But the next number is 15, and this says ID is 14, so I have to change this to 15. And now I can go in and copy and paste. And then my next one is 16, so I have to change the 14 to a 16, right, so that the numbers are correct. Right? Otherwise, I would just have a whole bunch of statements labeled 14, and that wouldn't make a whole bunch of sense. And so you can see that I'm just going through changing the statement number to the next one and then copying and pasting. The key here is that we must have matching statements with the number, and that then at the very end when I get to here, right, it has to end with this statements, right, because this really just is telling you it's the end of the statements. Right? And so that's what I'm going to do for the remainder of these items. So then I'll be done with changing the statements file. And then the next video will address what we do next. All right, so now I have copied and pasted all of the statements from the Word file into our statements.xml file in Notepad. Again, any text editor will do. This is what it would look like. The only things I've changed is literally the statements, and then originally it only went to an ID of 4, and so I've copied and pasted, and we have our 30 to match our 30 statements, and then we must remember to save. Don't change the name or anything, right? So, and then that is done, and then we can come up into our settings file, and here's our statements, right? And I literally just saved it. So then we're going to be ready to go to our next thing, which is the map, and that's what the next video will be about. The map is just the grid, and so I'll make this so that it fits in my little, I have mouse problems. So it's literally just, it's the grid, right? And so this is kind of the default. And so now I'm going to have to go and look at what the grid is supposed to look like for this study. And then I will adapt it just like I adapted our statement file to match this study. And this is part 1, the end of part 1.